In this video, we're talking about the criteria that I've used to create Rob's rankings. Now, this is a series of videos based on disciplines and other things where I choose my top universities for particular areas. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you the criteria that I've used to come up with that list of rankings. This is really important because I'm like everybody else. I have things that I like and things that I don't like. And it's really important for you to understand my preferences so that you can help evaluate my ranking based on your preferences. I've been working in higher education for over 20 years in Australia, have literally helped tens of thousands of students choose universities and to make the most out of their time there and to boost their resumes. So this is stuff that I know inside out, and I'm really excited to help you to choose your uni too. Now, as I go along this video, I'm going to be showing you around El Questro. El Questro is in the north of Western Australia. It's a remote, isolated and beautiful part of Australia. It's going to be a super pleasure to show you around here and talk about these criteria. So let's get going. How good is this?
Yeah, it's awesome.
The first thing that I consider when ranking universities is student satisfaction. And universities are evaluated independently by the government every year for student satisfaction. So it's a public data source. And I think that what other students say about a degree program is probably the most important thing. So that's the number one thing that I consider when making my rankings. The next thing that I consider are three separate measures of employment. Those three things are employer satisfaction, the satisfaction of employers for recent graduates, their starting salaries, and their employment rates. So as an example, engineering students at a particular university have an 80% employment rate after 3 to 4 months, a $60,000 starting salary, and employers are 89% satisfied with the graduates they hire from a particular university. Three separate measures of graduate satisfaction. Something you're no doubt well aware of is how just having a degree these days pretty much doesn't guarantee you a job. You know, you go back 30, 40 years, yeah, if you had a degree, you were basically guaranteed a job. But nowadays, what's really critical are all the other things that you do as part of your uni degree. The things that give you soft skills, the things that you add to your resume. Things like internships, volunteering, leadership programs, overseas study, which is one of the best things you can possibly do. In creating Rob's rankings, I've taken all of these different things into account, all of the extracurricular opportunities that are available at particular institutions. I've taken them into account so that they can be considered as part of the ranking. Because sure, you can get a great degree from a prestigious university, but if you haven't got all of that other stuff on your resume, all of that impressive soft skill building, career development type activities, the degree by itself maybe isn't as valuable as somebody who's done a similar degree from a less prestigious institution, but has had an international study experience. They have done an internship. They have been a volunteer or a past tutor. All these things count. And so I've taken those into consideration with Rob's ranking. I also consider the traditional rankings. Now, rankings are a complicated issue, but the good thing about rankings, the international global rankings, is they do take into consideration the research performance of particular institutions. And because that may be important to you, that's something that I also consider in my ranking. So, and the university's overall prestige is something I consider, but to me it's not the most important thing, because unless, you know, that's the key factor for you, some of the other things like clubs and societies, extracurricular activities, student support, class sizes may be more important for you. So always take the pure ranking, global ranking of an institution with a grain of salt. If you've got questions and comments, please drop them down below. I love getting back to questions and comments. So pop them in down there. This is the McMacking pool at the end of the McMacking Gorge, which is basically at the end of the El Questro Gorge. And you can see an absolutely beautiful pool and waterfall. One of the things that I think is really important at university is social life, making sure that you're able to meet lots of people and get involved in lots of different activities. And that's why I've taken into consider the clubs and societies and sporting groups that are available at each institution. Now, of course, that doesn't necessarily, not every single one of those clubs is relevant to you, but the more choice that you have in terms of clubs, societies, sporting organisations, the more likely you are to be able to find something that matches you. And so that's all taken into consideration as part of my ranking.
Great showing you around El Questro and talking about the criteria that I've used to judge my favourite universities in all these categories. Now it's your turn to get into those actual reviews themselves. And while you do that, I'm going to go for a swim here in Amelia Gorge. Oh, God. It's really cold.